5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
ShadowFox, you're up.
Once round again we go.
Number 3, bronze time.
Bronze medal. And definitely one of the more higher profile games of the year. One which I played around once and do want to go back to again. But we'll see if I can't get the mods working with it this time. Because that would be the Bethesda not bug-filled game of Starfield.
Sorry.
I know, it's a shock, isn't it? You say Bethesda and you expect a bit of a train wreck to begin with.
You expect perfectly balanced game where nothing can go wrong, as
absolutely
the spiffing Brit would say.
No, yeah, so Starfield was an absolutely humongous game. A game in which I maybe explored anywhere from a quarter to a third of the galaxy on my first playthrough. And it really has it has a lot of the same hallmarks as a lot of the previous Bethesda games. So, you are this creator character person who has some kind of backstory that you could decide, and you can play how you want to within a certain framework. It's not quite got the complete freedom as some of the other games do. There is no full pacifist route. In fact, I don't think there is any pacifist route, or at least any non-killing route if you want to do most of the stuff. But it's like, you are Mr. or Mrs. or them's space person who has touched a mystical, magical artifact, and now you can go through and figure out what these artifacts do. And then when you complete the game and you get to New Game Plus, mild spoiler alert, you already know what these magical, mystical artifacts do, and you can straight up tell the people who you work with in the first game that exact fact if you encounter them, and they are all there. Yeah, so it's again kind of following along with the theme of sort of your sort of Sonic-y review, where it's like, hey, the first time round, that's you kind of playing the game, but then you get into it again, and then there's extra layers of the game where things are different now, such as characters being replaced, or even perhaps meeting yourself. If you're unlucky, you can end up with a very different playstyle. But yeah, it's,
I was gonna say you're not gonna turn in be your own grandfather or something like that.
No, there's not quite anything like that.
Time paradoxes.
But it's universe hopping. So sometimes you might find yourself. Sometimes certain characters might be a bush. Dead as a tree now. Because why not?
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah, there's a lot of variations in that. So you got kind of the if you've played like any of the other the Fallouts or anything, you kind of got some basic weapon and armor crafting. The fact that you can build your own bases and ships. The shipbuilding is a lot of fun. If there are some slight issues in the way things want to connect rather than how you would like them to connect. But I've seen some amazing recreations of things, like from Millennium Falcons all the way up to giant, like, planetary crackers.
Has anyone done a Unicron yet?
I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, just a giant robot planet. Just wandering through space.
I mean, they probably could. I mean, there was a fun part when people realised that the best ship to make was literally a hollow cube. Or
Also the Borg.
It's well, Borg with a big hole in the middle that everyone shoots for and misses.
Yeah, no, this happened in another game where the reason it works so well is that enemies will aim for the center of your ship. So if your center of your ship is a giant hole where nothing is, it's just like, okay.
It's like the exploration, it's a kind of a shame that the exploration part of the game is probably one of the weaker parts of it, which is, they started to reply to a bunch of their comments, like saying like, oh, it's a bit boring, and they were like, well, when people went to the moon, there wasn't much to do up there either, and it's like, well, no, but I'm not on the moon, I'm on, I don't know, where am I? I'm on Mars, or I'm on a planet 3 stars
You
out.
say that, they were pretty busy when they landed on the moon.
Oh no, they were pretty busy. Yeah, no. But yeah, no, it's a game that could have definitely done with a lot of refinement. But in the first playthrough, I did as much as I kind of could. I found a lot of the side quests. Definitely not all of them, because like I said, I went bumbling around like the mainly populated area of the world map. But the amount of times you run into the same base is quite laughable, with like almost the exact same spawns. Opening one locker and going, oh, there's someone's keeping cheese in their locker. Okay, that's fine. And then I go to another base. This guy's also keeping cheese in his locker.
Universal cheese grommet.
Universal cheese. But no, it's there's a lot of fun. I mean, like, you get a jetpack. I don't think there's any game that isn't improved with a jetpack.
I'm trying to think of a
Yeah,
comeback
same.
for that, but...
My first thought was Halo Reach.
I mean
that was still improved with the jetpack.
Yeah, the jetpack doesn't work very well, but then again, I did have quite a lot of lag when I was last playing it, so...
Yeah, the code for multiplayer or co-op there is a little bit...
Yeah. I'm trying to think of another game that might have had a jetpack in it. Duke Nukem 3D. It's like that had a jetpack.
That had a jetpack, but that made the game easier at least. For some reason, the only other one I'm thinking of is Diddy Kong in Donkey Kong 64. That jetpack's horrible.
Well, yeah.
But yeah, you could definitely stand for more refined maps, but some of the storylines are absolutely amazing. Like, you can go from fighting basically aliens from Alien to infiltrating a pirate smuggling ring, and you can do it all at the same time or one after the other. You can be a space cowboy, lots of fun there. Kill some corrupt people with a total immunity. Like I said, some people had a lot of fun with the characters. I chose to be an introvert and just basically ignore the characters, other than when they were needed on quests. They didn't seem entirely valuable to me. People have been saying that maybe they just used them as like pack mules, though, which was something that I definitely probably should have done. God damn, carrying everything around. Yeah.
It's always one of the things with Bethesda games, like you want to hoard everything, but you have a carry limit.
Yeah, you have a carry limit. It's like there's a junk there's like a junk section, so you know what is actually junk at least. But yeah, then you get to a point where it's like, but these are crafting materials. I need all this iron. I don't know what for yet, but I do. But yeah, I mean, it could have. It's like if the map, if there was less map, more refined, so perhaps some vehicular transportation. I would have loved to have seen, because like, they talk about these wars with like the aliens and the mechs and stuff, and this like genetic stuff that's all been outlawed. There's like a lot of cool lore there as well, because also you got like the Vanguard, which are basically the home police, and the Space Cowboys were two like factions fighting a war against each other. You get to hear out all this kind of cool stuff that I would be kind of nice to have played through. But it's still, so you still get to fly around space and shoot spaceships, build your own, and that's really kind of what the fun part was for me. So the fact I got to use a space revolver at the same time, a great bonus. So I think that's Starfield for me for number 3. Turbo, how about you?
Well, that's one funky future that you've gone through with Starfield. However, you know, with me, I like a little bit more cyber in my funk, and you're seeing where I'm going with this.
Yeah, no, I think I've already figured that out.
Yeah, so my number 3 is a game I've been waiting for a long time, and it was worth the wait when it finally released this year. Bomb Rush Cyberpunk.
Yay.
This game is Jet Set Radio 3, or Jet Set Radio Beyond, or Jet Set Radio Future 2, or whatever you want to call it. It is a Jet Set Radio game through and through. And yet, it introduces a couple of new things here and there, but the soul, literally the graffiti soul of this game is entrenched with the Jet Set Radio mantra and template of like of its design map, effectively. Now, one thing I will criticize it. Now, granted, I think this is because of the team. I think the team is set. I think Team Reptile is set in Europe. I think in a European like country, because the city's name is New Amsterdam, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, it's like, I'm looking at this New Amsterdam. I look at that level layouts, and it's like, these are pretty much Jet Set Radio Future level designs to a certain point.
Yeah, but we can't say it's set in Neo Tokyo because then the Sega lawyers will come after us.
Well, granted, I mean they couldn't even say it. They couldn't even call it Tokyoto, which is what they called it in the original game. But then they obviously changed it back to Tokyo, in Future. But no, this setting for it's very similar to some of the, especially the Tokyo the Jet Set Radio Future level designs is very reminiscent of that, but it does do something better in it that is different to how those Jet Set Radio games were played out. It has a story, and an interesting one at that. Like, you start off as breaking out of a police kind of like a police station that you were held up on, and then suddenly spoilers but this is like within the first 10 minutes of the game, your character's head gets chopped off.
Ooh.
And it's like,
Okay.
oh shit. It's like,
And you somehow survive.
yeah, because afterwards your head gets replaced with a robotic head, and you still play as that character, and you just, you then go on a journey to reclaim or claim the rest of the city as your own by how they call it, going all city. I use the quotations mark here because I think the term's just a bit dumb. To say that, it's like going all city. It's like, okay, it's a bit dumb that, but the team that consists of 3 characters initially, obviously, goes on this kind of like story to find where the guy's head is, because they know who cut the head off, but they want to know answers for it and get understanding of it. And it like the story, it actually is much more fleshed out than the stories of either 1 or 2 of Jet Set Radio, because the stories for those ones were just very basic. You were just basically having gang warfare between multiple gangs across multiple regions of the city, and just and then you were to get like little story bits of, oh, one of your teammates have gone missing. You need to go find them, and you have to beat more team members of like rival gangs to get answers, and then do blah blah blah. This one actually has an overarching story where it starts off with a hook to then lead you through the rest of the game, and eventually it has a conclusion. It actually has a decent twist.
Why your head is so precious.
Yeah, like it has a twist that I wasn't really thinking about, until it came to it. It just hit me like hit me in the face like a fish. It's just like, whew, all right, wow, all right, we're going with this. And one other thing is that was interesting was how they incorporated certain levels between like gang rival battles, where in Jet Set Radio Future there was like the final boss effectively in Jet Set Radio Future had you set in this like alternate kind of like reality and whatnot, and you are just you're grinding up all these kind of like random bits of level placement, geometry and stuff like that. Whilst in Bomb Rush Cyberpunk, they actually take that concept, twisted it even better, and have multiple like different layouts of these kind of like levels, and it's like gravity defying stuff as well. So it's like really ingenious kind of like ways of introducing out of this world kind of like level designs in between the regular kind of like levels of the game. Like, you know, the regular kind of like open area kind of like stuff. You know. So I thought that was really good, and that obviously it helped in terms of like building on the story as well, because in these kind of like mind levels, I'd like to call them, it is the main character going through these like levels, getting to the end and reminiscing or remembering a memory of his head, like, you know, like that's part of the robot head's memories and stuff like that. So it's interesting little things.
Put it down, let the beat start rolling. Upload to the mainframe. I'm on the satellite holding it. I see my people stepping it up now. Download that, we go with it. Got them moves, got them vibes. We got the strategy, do it all night, do it all day, no wasting time. We got the crew, get ready for the ride. Got them moves, got them vibes. We got the strategy, do it all night, do it all day, no wasting time. We got the crew, get ready for the ride. Got them moves, got them vibes. We got the strategy, do it all night, do it all day, no wasting time. We got the crew, get ready for the ride. Got them moves, got them vibes. We got the strategy, do it all night, do it all day, no wasting time. We got the crew, get ready for the ride.
But gameplay wise, tight, just as tight as like Jet Set Radio Future. Like, it is what I was wanting in a successor to Jet Set Radio Future. It keeps that kind of like fast pace and fluid kind of like gameplay style, but adding a couple of new things, including a booster pack where you can utilize that for instead of like what was it? In Jet Set Radio Future, if you had enough cans, you can use a good portion of your cans for a boost, and it didn't really make sense how you were doing that. But with but with Bomber Cyberpunk, you have a boost pack on your back. That makes perfect sense then. So now you have a reason why you can boost and whatnot, whether it be a short burst while in midair, or to do it like a double jump. Because that's another thing you can do. You can do a double jump in the game, so that's really good. And it's not just limited to skates this time around. You can skate with rollerblades. You can skate with a skateboard, which is something new. And you can also ride on a BMX, a cycle, and do tricks on that. So really, now granted, in terms of like gameplay, it doesn't really change that much, but at least you're given the option. Like, oh, are you sick of riding, playing around on skates and whatnot? Okay, then have a bike. Oh, you don't want to play a bike? Here's a skateboard. Okay, here you go, Tony Hawk. Here's your skateboard. Yeah.
No, but yeah, I can understand why the appeal. Yeah.
Yeah. So, really and honestly, I had a blast with the game. I'm just, I just wish I played it on Switch, because that's how it was initially revealed to me. It was like revealed during a Nintendo Direct. But it's been out on PC. It came out on PlayStation as well, and I am intrigued to go back to it and actually going to get the platinum on this, because I was that invested in the game that I feel as though I want to go back and get the platinum on the PlayStation. I don't know whether or not to do both the PS4 and PS5 or just one of them. But I think I might just do one of them, and I'll go for the PS5 version, because they're not tied. Like, there's not cross-platform purchase or whatever. So it's gotta be either one or the other. I've already bought it already on Switch. I'll just buy it one more copy on like PlayStation.
Yeah,
I like supporting I like supporting. Yeah, I was gonna say I like supporting indie devs, but not so like at most 2 times. I've done that with Shantae, where I've bought like one version on one format and one and another on another format.
A digital and a physical version, generally.
Or sometimes like that. But most times when it's like it's only a digital version of the game, I'll buy it on at maximum two times if it's a digital version only. But no, this game is really good, and if you've been harking at Sega to say, "Oh, come on, do another Jet Set Radio game, come on," and say, I'll just turn your head over to the left and show you Bomb Rush Cyber. It's like, there's your Jet Set Radio game. Go fucking play that. Pardon my language, but it's like, there's your Jet Set Radio game. You have it now. Go play that. And that's my number 3, Bomb Rush Cyberpunk.
Everyone who's played this has loved it, from what I can tell. The only reason I've not done it is because I never finished Jet Set Radio, and I want to finish that first.
I mean, you don't have to play Jet Set Radio, any of the Jet Set Radios in order.
I know, but I want to, because I started
to finish it off.
Yeah, I started it. I'd like to finish it.
I started, but you started, so you shall finish.
If you're done, I shall get on with my number 3 then.
Yes, go ahead.
So my number 3 is my remake for the year. Now, honestly, there was a lot of competition this year for a remake. I probably could have made a top 5 remakes of this year. But I had to go with a variety of criteria. I had to go with which ones did I enjoy the most, which ones improved upon the original game the most, and one other factor for me was basically how much value do I get out of rebuying it. Now, there was a couple that I don't think there were any that were disappointments. There were a couple that were good but didn't really wow me for the improvements. But there was one in particular where, honestly, I think you could basically have called it not quite from the ground up remaster, but a proper remaster to solve issues with the original and give you something more. And while value would be debatable because I got it for free because I owned the original already on Steam, I do think the price they've given it on consoles is also worth it. The other important part about it was that didn't know it was coming. It got released on the day it was announced, which was the first day of a convention called QuakeCon. So my number 3 is Quake 2 Remastered. Now, some would argue it's not a remaster, it's just a port. I would disagree, certainly for the console versions. PC version is always going to be a bit iffy, because people have been updating. I mean, before they did this, they'd already done an RTX lighting upgrade for Quake 2. But I think they do a lot to improve upon the original with this. So, first big improvement, they give you a new item to start the game with. It's a compass. That might not sound that impressive, but Quake 2's maps aren't amazingly designed at times, so you can get lost. And the compass is a really good tool to help with that. This is especially true during the expansion packs. And in fact, they've added a new tutorial in which shows you how useful it can be by going, hey, see these 10 portals? 9 of them lead to death, 1 of them leads to the way out. Use the compass to figure out which one. Fair enough. Speaking of the expansion packs, the 2 expansion packs for the game are now free. Ground Zero and The Reckoning, I believe they're called. Opinion on how good they are varies from person to person. I think one of them is pretty good, the other one is okay. But they introduced some new weapons, some new gimmicks, some new enemies. One particular one that people hate because it keeps summoning other enemies. But, you know, they're now free. So if you didn't have them before, you now do now. And also it updates the enemy AI that was put into those games, into the expansion packs, into the base game. This is both a blessing and a curse because it makes one enemy much harder, but next, it includes a free version of Quake 64, which is running in the same engine. The only issue is that it's also using the Nintendo 64's original graphic settings for the textures, so it looks pretty nasty.
So they didn't do a Doom 64 where they redid the lighting engine and everything like that for the game.
So the lighting engine and so it's all updated to the same standard as the main game and the expansion packs. It's just they've not updated the textures. I don't know if that's just so it gives it you know, the original N64 feel, or whether it's just it was a bit of an afterthought. But if nothing else, I'll give them credit for game preservation, because this is the only way you're going to play the N64 version now, probably. And it is a different game. It's not just a port of the base game, because the N64 couldn't have handled that. So it is actually a different game with a couple of familiar locations, but, you know, it's a nice addition. And you know, I think all of that's really good. It justifies, you know, a HD remake. So it's kind of nice they added something else as well. A brand new expansion pack with quite a big chunk of levels. It is called Call of the Machine, and it's really interesting because it has kind of 6 mini episodes that are all accessed from this like hub world, where you technically are deploying different soldiers to different areas, where you have like a 3 to 4 stage mini set of levels. All of them have secret levels in it, which are like, I think the best way to call them is murder holes, where you just get given loads of ammo, loads of enemies, and get told to go nuts. What's really interesting is all of those portals are the portals used in Quake 1. And this is the other interesting bit about this expansion pack, is that it ties the story of Quake 1 to Quake 2, which is quite big because they're very, very different games tonally. So it's a really interesting thing. But yeah, a whole new expansion pack with very well designed gimmicks. This is by a lot of people considered really good. Each of the things has like different style of play. There's one that quite starves you of ammo throughout the whole thing. There's one that the first weapon you get is a BFG, and it just gives you loads of ammo and enemies to use it on, which is great. And they introduce some enemies from Quake 1 as well, as a little bit of a pullback, let's say. So yeah, I think this is, out of all of the HD remakes, this is definitely the one that A, improves the most, and B, is just the one that I can go back to and just go and have a bit of fun for a couple of hours. Now, admittedly, I understand a lot of people criticize Quake 2 because it was, for a lot of people, the beginning of the brown era of gaming, let's call it. The realistic grungy style.
The Bring Back Blue Skies movement period.
Yeah. And actually, the new expansion pack actually does quite a nice job of making some kind of nicer looking environments. One of them, you actually go into like a temple, but it's all blues and greens and like fluorescent crystals, so it's quite nice. But yeah, I quite enjoy Quake 2 as a game. It's a fun little game. It requires a bit of skill. I'm going through it on, I think I'm going through it on hard difficulty at the moment. I think I was a bit too chicken to do Nightmare, but you know, I can go back and do Nightmare another time. But yeah, this is a brilliant, this is how you really sell a remake, is by going, look, here's everything you could have possibly had with it, and here's an extra little treat. Now, to be fair, these levels aren't scrap levels. They are designed from scratch by the studio that's done the port. And there's a nice little touch that all of the soldiers' capsules are named after some of the devs team. So, it's a really nice touch. But yeah, I think if you owned Quake 2 on Steam, you've got this upgrade for free. But this is also available on Xbox and PlayStation. Probably Switch as well. I didn't think to check that, but yeah. If Switch can't run Quake 2, we probably should be concerned.
I think it's available on there, possibly. So.
Quake 1 definitely is. But I'm pretty sure they released on Switch as well. And also, one thing I do like is, unlike the Doom remakes that they did, you don't have to be signed into Bethesda.net to play everything.
Hey.
You just need it for the multiplayer, which, fair enough. And I think you can play the entire game through on co-op as well, which... Great! So yeah, my number 3 is Quake 2. That is my remake for the year, and trust me, it had some stiff competition. And with that, we come close to the end. But did we want to do any quick honourable or even dishonourable mentions if you wanted to?
I got a couple of names I can throw into the jumbled hat there. One of which was the other remake, which was, again, it was more of a port, I guess, close to that line, of Ghost Trick, because that was this year. I'm
surprised Metal Gear beat that one for you.
The thing was that they're both so very different.
Yeah,
like Ghost Trick is exactly a port of the original game, but like higher resolution and a sliding block puzzle. And I think the audio player, it's still the exact same game, and again, it's a case of bringing it out of the depths of obscurity, because it was only
Capcom are pretty okay with that. I mean, look at all the Mega Man re-releases.
I mean, don't know why it took so long for Ghost Trick. That thing came out a while back.
I think it was, is there enough audience? I think was the big thing.
Well, I mean, it's done by a member of the studio that was proliferant with with another series that is owned by Capcom. I believe it's the same director who is behind the Ace Attorney series.
Yes, it is.
So it's only because of that affiliation that obviously it got this release.
Yeah, I think I would agree, because a lot of the promotional material was from the designer of Ace Attorney.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Though on the plus side, I think by the time I got around to playing it again, I'd forgotten enough of the puzzles that it was at least a little bit challenging for me.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that one, actually.
Otherwise, there are games I still want to play that are either lined up and downloaded and ready to go, or just are a bit expensive at the moment for me. Like got Lies of P, the Souls-like.
Yeah, that's
Pinocchio
on my to-do list.
thing.
I haven't actually bought that yet.
Yeah, there's Atomic Heart for other reasons. Armored Core, and again, not from the creators of Souls or Souls games, FromSoft. I've always wanted to try out their mech games, because I played Chrome Hounds, which is another piece of probably lost media at this point.
Oh yeah, like a lost Sega game now.
Yeah, way back. Oh, back on the 360.
Yep.
So Armored Core is obviously they're more mech, further towards the Zone of the Enders than realistic style of.
Yeah, you're right.
At least on that scale, from walking tanks to.
Yeah, it's very action heavy for mechs. So it's like it's obviously reminiscent of Gundam. Than anything else.
Yeah, I think you kind of got your Chrome Hounds, then you go up to Armored Core, then you go towards your Gundams, and then you kind of get your Zone of the Enders at the far end of the scale, and you're flying around in space like that.
Another Konami one.
Yeah. As of dishonorable mentions, Ark Survival Ascended is
the new Ark.
The new Ark. They said, like, hey, yeah, it's a new game built from the ground up with all this stuff, and it's true, there are some things that are really much better about it. Except that all of the bugs that were in the original game release still seem to be there. The bugs that have been patched out since then. And bugs that are still in the original game are still there, and it's like, oh. Like, I'd always been saying that game needed a ground-up rework. And we were thinking, awesome, here it is. And it turns out, no, it's just a slap of shiny paint on the current game, or the old game. But in some cases, it's worse. In PvP, there's it's much more glitchier and many more abusable systems.
Yeah, you can't afford that in your PvP, can you?
No, especially when you have these big official servers with massive mega tribes, as they call them, that own basically entire servers. So, yeah. it was a shame because it was like we thought it was what we were going to want, and it turns out, oh no, and then it kept being delayed on console, and I have no idea how they're going to do that, keep that running, because the end result they're hoping for is cross-platform interaction. Whether or not they can actually keep it up and keep all the versions in line, we'll see.
How about yourself, Turbo? Or have you finished ShadowFox? Or?
Yeah, I finished, don't worry.
What
Good,
do you
because-
mentions?
Because strap in,
Yeah.
we got a long list of here. Okay, I'm gonna be trying to be as fast as possible. Obviously, we already talked about that.
Yep.
Just that's in my honorable mentions. Project Zero, Mask of the Lunar Eclipse. It was a game that never got the Western light of day for the longest time, only until this year, where it got a re-release for modern systems and stuff like that. But more importantly, a Western port of the game for the UK and UK, Europe, and US under the Fatal Frame banner, of course. But a couple of other titles here quickly want to go through. River City Girls 2 that came out in December of 2022. Obviously, within our kind of like time scale for our games of the years. Really good successor to the game, to the original River City Girls. Just obviously, came out of my top 5 because obviously it's just like
Other games.
Yeah, other games. Yeah,
Too many games.
Too many.
Fitness Boxing, Fist and North Star. I thought it was hilarious. It was a hilarious little game. Nice little fitness thing and whatnot. Wish I could have kept on working on that, but of course, so many things come to take over. The Murder of Sonic the Hedgehog. Nice little, nice little fun.
There was a lot of Sonic this year, wasn't there?
Yeah, there was a lot of Sonic.
There was, yeah.
Everyone thinks, it's like we don't get enough Sonic. You had enough Sonic this year, okay? Stop complaining. That was a nice little side game. That was in the form of a visual novel kind of like style game, but it wasn't really too meaty and whatnot. It was just like a nice little fun thing. I would think it was supposed to be released on April Fool's, but it came out the day before. I still class it as an April Fool's game, really.
It was meant to, but I think there's some restrictions you kind of can and can't do with releasing games at certain times. So, in order for it to be available for April Fool's Day, they would have had to release it on the 31st.
Mm-hmm. Bayonetta Origins, Cereza and the Lost Demon, that came out at the start of the year as well. Not many people are going to be talking about this game because nobody cares about it, but I thought it was a really good game. I thought it was a nice little side series to the original Bayonetta thing. Definitely, I liked it a lot more than Bayonetta 3, I'll tell you that much.
Which also came out this year.
No, Bayonetta 3 came out last year.
Was it last year?
Yeah. That was in my top 5. That was like low top 5.
It was October last year, so more towards the end point.
But no, Bayonetta Origins came out in January, I think. Or February.
Yes, that sounds right.
And funnily enough, that was teased in Bayonetta 3, but I never got to that part because Bayonetta 3 pissed me off so much that I didn't go back to it and try to find that. Turbo Overkill. Many people think, Turbo, it's got your name in it. Why did you put it into the top 5? No. It's a boomer shooter. It's very difficult. I had fun, but it's like the same as like Doom Eternal, where I'm like, now granted, I had Doom Eternal in a top 5 like 2 years ago and whatnot, and the only reason why is that I didn't really play that many games, but I played so many games this year. things had to be dropped and whatnot. But it's a really good game. Granted, it was a early access game, but I didn't play it until it had its 1.0 release, which was this year.
Which we count if you either have its early access release or its 1.0 release, as long as you don't put it twice.
Yeah, aye. But no, it was still a good game. Go play it if you like your boomer shooters, whatnot, fast-paced action, first-person shooters. It's definitely in that same genre. And the most surprising one here, that I think a lot of you people will obviously think that I'm crazy that I don't have this in my top 5. Zelda Tears of the Kingdom.
Is that an honorable or dishonorable one?
Well, it's an honorable mention. I mean, I don't have a dishonorable mention. I liked all these games.
No,
I don't have any dishonorable games. Like, these are all games I would have loved to have in my top 5, but they all just got bumped off.
Yeah, that's fair.
And whatnot. If I was doing a top 10, I would have a good majority of these games in here. The only games that I probably think would not be in my top 10 would be fitness boxing, River City Girls 2, and the Murder of Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, like all the other ones, I would have put in a top 10 of there. Don't know where it would be the order, but all
We'd
that.
have to worry about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they are. I had enjoyment with it. Tears of the Kingdom, I thought it was a really good game. It was just the building mechanic obviously was the downside for me. Like, I don't have the creativity to be making shit. So
Fair enough.
it's like, I don't like Minecraft. I don't like this. It's like, I don't like this mechanic. Stop making me build shit.
And you
don't
didn't torture
want
yourself
it.
like Ezio.
Well, he's just crazy enough to just go 100%. Now, granted, I did 100% the map, and I got all the Korok seeds, but I have not gone out of my way of killing every single boss enemy in there, like every single Talus, and every single Lionel, and every single thing, and getting all that. No. I just got the Korok seeds and 100% of the map, and went to every location. That's it. That's all I've done. That's all I care about. And I've done that now, so... But anyway, but that's my honorable mentions. Like, quickly going through there was a lot this year.
Yeah,
that I played. I was very surprised. This is probably the most I've played for the longest time.
So, a lot of my honourable mentions are ones that it's a case of I haven't played enough of it, not because I don't want to, but because I have not had the time. The big one is Baldur's Gate 3, because you need a lot of time to play that, and I have not had it. But on top of that, Mario Bros. Wonder probably wouldn't have made my top 5, but it's still good.
I forgot to say, I forgot to add Mario Wonder as well, because I only just started playing.
You've only just started it, yeah.
So I again, honorable mention. I'll agree to that.
Yeah, WarioWare Move It. I've been waiting for the sequel to Smooth Moves. I have not had the time to play this yet, and it's just like, I need time. And sticking with the DS, Disney Illusion Island. I haven't found time to play it yet. I've bought it, I've had it since launch, not played it. What I have played and completed and missed because it was on a remake list, Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp. Good remake, good remaster. There's a couple of small niggles. I think the graphics aren't as good, as expressive as the original. But I've had fun with this, and I've had fun playing multiplayer with the Random Genius. Metroid Prime. I think a lot of people were surprised this wasn't my remaster for the year, but I actually don't feel this was quite as good as the Wii version for mostly minor niggly reasons. But yeah, that's why it didn't. Well, Quake I also think was a much better remaster package, to be honest, which is why it lost out. The other one from last year that I was sure would make my list and Quake just beat it out was Crisis Core, which released back in December of last year. Yeah,
Just barely got scraped out of your list last year and this year again. For different reasons.
Yeah, honestly, this would have beaten Metroid Prime until Quake 2 came along. Quake 2 just nicked it. And there was a small indie game that almost made my list. This is my number 7, is Brotato. The main reason that won't get kicked down was because I found a free-to-play game that gives me a same kind of gameplay, but better. Which, if you listen to my show last week, or 2 weeks ago, whatever my solo show was for gaming recommendations, Hollow Cure, which is a free-to-play twin-stick shooter, and I think it's slightly better than Brotato. So if a free-to-play game beats it, then yeah, it got knocked off. And I think I'll leave it at that. That's not an extensive list by any means.
No, but all still good games and something we can definitely recommend.
And unfortunately, I think the first part of my next year is... I mean, I've already got 2 remasters I want coming out next year. So that's going to be fun.
I've got a couple of games in my radar for the start of the year as well. So yeah, I'll start with this for the following year. It's already started, so...
Yep. I mean...
I'm kind of surprised at how blank my head is right now for games.